sorry. We have some technical difficulties here. All right, I think we're live. What's going on, guys? This is officially the Daily Grind Fantasy live stream for this NFL Week 16 slate. We have 2 weeks remaining of the NFL season. This is actually probably the last real slate because we know next week is going to be absolutely insane with teams on the playoff contention, teams benching certain starters, getting ready for playoffs. So this will be the last official slate, in my opinion, for NFL. Everybody seems to have moved on to NBA, but we are still motivated to make some money on the slate. Kevin and TJ are with me yet again. We had a crazy week. We had a lot of time off, me specifically, so sorry for the not so great content this week, but I'm back here in my studio. We'll be putting out NBA videos going forward for every single slate. Same thing with NFL, at least until the season ends, and then also playoff videos. So let's go ahead and break down the slate, guys. TJ and Kevin, I know Kevin's having a great morning, alive and awake. So let's go ahead and do this. Starting at the quarterback position, we have the highest owned projected with Patrick Mahomes at 21.7% owned. What are your thoughts, TJ? I'll go ahead and pitch this to you. Patrick Mahomes being the highest owned and also the most expensive at $8,500.
Kevin, are you dead, man?
Shut up, guys.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Matthew. Mahomes 8,500 to me against Atlanta makes sense. Team that ranks 19th in DVOA against the pass. Kansas City, sitting at a 32 team total over under right now. There's not much to say about Kansas City and that offense and how well they operate. We watched Atlanta get absolutely decimated by the Bucs and Brady last week in that second half after having a pretty good first half. So, Mahomes at 8,500 to me makes sense as the chalk play. There's only one other quarterback I would really consider in terms of cash. So if I can get up and get to Mahomes at 8,500, that's my game plan.
Real quick, somebody said don't take shots at your boy TJ. No, you know what? I take back that statement. It was lack of content, not bad content. TJ put up phenomenal content on the live stream yesterday, so shout out to TJ for holding down the fort. So I apologize for that. I did not mean it like that. Kevin,
well, I was about to start crying. But
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I'd persevere and hold.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes at 21.7% owned, being the highest owned quarterback? Are you taking him in cash?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's a very favorable matchup. It sounds cliche to say Patrick Mahomes is separating himself from the herd, but I mean, he really has, especially this year, when, you see Russell Wilson, Allen, all these people who started off so hot, kind of cooled down a little bit. So I think Mahomes is in a league of his own right now. Not that he wasn't already, but,
sure.
A lot of people were putting up those kind of numbers, not so much anymore. I mean, it's him and Lamar Jackson are really putting up what I would consider elite numbers, and everyone else is kind of falling by the wayside. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson's close, but I mean, he's still a more spotty than both of them. Okay.
Okay.
Big Texans fan, TJ?
Love the Texans.
So I think Patrick Mahomes is probably the only obvious option. We don't have Aaron Rodgers on the slate. We don't have some of these elite normal quarterbacks that we're used to looking at. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably the only cash option if you're going to be paying down, I think, at all. You're looking at 2 other guys here. You're looking at Jalen Hurts at $7,000, 16.4%. Are you changing up your builds just to try to save some salary at the quarterback position, TJ?
If I am, there's like you just alluded to, there's 2 other guys I'm looking at. One of them obviously going to be Jalen Hurts. Been fantastic since he won the starting job for Philly. Got a really good matchup against Dallas that ranks 20th in DVOA against opposing quarterbacks. And the rushing upside with Jalen Hurts is there. Obviously something that we did not see out of Carson Wentz. So I really like Jalen Hurts at 7K. The price increase has been huge from him after starting against the Saints at 5,100. All the way up to 7K. I still think he is definitely cash viable. And my other option is going to be Mitch Trubisky at 5,700. I am definitely afraid of a blowout now, especially with James Robinson being ruled out for Jacksonville. Yep. So that's the one thing that I am a little bit weary of. But at 5,700, I mean, realistically, he needs to get us 16 DraftKings points?
Yeah, not much.
In order to. Yeah, so I definitely do like Mitch. If I am looking to save at the quarterback position, then that is probably where I'm going to be landing in terms of cash. But I'm going to do everything I can to get Mahomes. And if I can't find the pricing or the money for Mahomes, I don't mind going to Jalen Hurts at 7K at all.
No, I completely agree with you there. And I mean, honestly, the ceiling is so high for Jalen Hurts. He's starting to rival that of Patrick Mahomes, especially against the Dallas defense here.
Good.
So yeah, he has been great. The only thing is they're going against Atlanta, Kansas City is, and we know that it's just shootout potential all over the place for these two teams. If they weren't playing Atlanta, I would be on Jalen Hurts a lot more. But yeah, Mitchell Trubisky going against Jacksonville, $5,700. I absolutely love the matchup there. The only thing, like you said, is that they could blow out the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's without James Robinson, as you guys know, and at the quarterback position, I don't even know who's starting for Jacksonville at this point. Honestly, it's just a sad picture there. But I think they are fully in tank mode. I don't think they're gonna try it all today. They have no reason to at this point, and that's the only hesitation I have. But again, like you said, only 16 points. Mitchell Trubisky only has to get to 16 points. I think it's even lower than that to hit value. Allen Robinson in a great spot as well. But let's go ahead and talk about GPP options here at the quarterback position real quick. TJ, where are you looking for GPP options at the quarterback?
It's not pretty, Matt.
It's not.
You know, you alluded to this slate is one where there's really a lackluster of stars, in my personal opinion. Obviously, we have Mahomes. You got the likes of Lamar Jackson at 8K playing the Giants. I don't really know if I'll go there. I'm not in love with that over-under sitting at a 44, which is one of the lower ones that we see on the slate. I did allude to the video that Kevin and I made yesterday that, unfortunately, when we put out, I didn't have Kevin's voice on, which is technical difficulties, we'll call it. That wasn't my fault. 43 minutes of me and Kevin, and it was just me talking because you couldn't hear Kevin. I did talk about Baker Mayfield at 6,100. Obviously, it's me, you, and Kevin. We got to get on the PJ to get out to that game in New York, so we can run the slot out wide, the X and Y's. He's just got no wide receiver core anymore. So I'm going to stay away from Baker, as I think Chubb and Kareem Hunt could probably see 50 total carries between the two of them. I don't hate Jared Goff on the road against Seattle, showing really low ownership currently at 3% at 5,900. I do like pairing him with guys like Robert Woods and Kupp. If I'm choosing between one, I would like Woods. And then, Matt Ryan, gonna have to try and keep up with Kansas City somehow. Tip of the cap to you and good luck, sir. Matthew Ryan, the BC alum. That's going to be a tall task for him, but wouldn't hate him, I guess, as a tournament play either at 5,800.
Yeah, I guess, Kevin, are you looking anywhere else other than the chalk at quarterback? Because it looks like the chalk is in a great spot to succeed this week.
I agree. I think the chalk's in a great spot. I mean, me and TJ talked about this yesterday in the vid that did not happen or did not exist in reality. I definitely think, it's definitely those chalky players. And then Matt Ryan, I think at 5,800, he's in a, potential smash spot for the fact he's going to have to try to keep up.
For sure. No, I completely agree with that. Just looking at my leverage sheet here, and it looks like the chalk is in a very, very great spot. Lamar Jackson's probably the only other guy I would talk about, and that's just because he's so run dependent. I mean, if this guy puts up 2, maybe 3 rushing touchdowns, I could break the slate. And again, it's all on game script at that point. If the Giants can keep it close at all, they are a 10-point underdog as of right now, and the Ravens are expected to put up one of the most on the slate in terms of actual points. So I do like the Ravens in that spot, and that's the only reason I like Lamar Jackson, and the fact that he's at 3%. Other than that, I'm still way more confident in somebody like Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Mitchell Trubisky to make the optimal. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the running back position here. We have David Montgomery at the top, 29.2%, Austin Eckler, 26.7%, and then Melvin Gordon at 21.3%. Very weird running back picture here. David Montgomery, though, at 7.7K. We saw him cheaper, I believe, in the previous 2 weeks, and he was also lower owned. Doesn't make any sense. But now with the lack of options at the running back position, 29.2%. Do you agree with that, Kevin? David Montgomery, I know you love him usually. Do you like him here at this ownership?
Yeah, I mean, it's another great matchup for David. I mean, he's absolutely been crushing it. I told TJ, I think DraftKings is trying to catch him in terms of like, they can't really, it's hard to put a price on a guy that started so slow and just keeps heating up. And I don't think they caught him yet. I mean, if we're looking at just production and price, I don't think 7,700 is fair for him at how he's been doing. I mean, I think, and I hate to say it on a team that has such a struggling offense, but I mean, it's ridiculous. 28, 27, 27, 32. I mean, if he keeps that up and the consistency is there, I mean, that's a guy who should be, 8,300, 8,500, so I definitely think David Montgomery, I mean, a very favorable matchup against the Jags too. So I definitely think, that's a good, spot at 7,700.
32 attempts. That's like Derrick Henry numbers. So last game against Minnesota, definitely worthy of that price tag at $7,700. Do you agree with that, TJ?
Yeah, definitely. 32 totes against Minnesota, like you just alluded to. Most on the season by far for him. He only eclipsed 20 actually once,
Yeah,
and that was
that's
21
insane.
carries against the Saints. So if they're going to keep giving him, obviously 32 is probably an unrealistic number, but if he's going to see north of 20, especially in a matchup against Jacksonville that ranks 23rd in DVOA against opposing running backs, definitely a team you can run on, also a team that you can throw on. But yeah, in a game where I think they're going to be ahead, you could see a lot of carries for David Montgomery. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets north of 25 carries. So at 7,700, he's probably my favorite running back on this slate.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, your team's terrible. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You can make fun of me about the Pats now. I mean, I have nothing to say. Cam Newton's. Cam Newton's thrown for what, 500 yards in the last 38 games. I feel like it's just
I feel sorry for both of our teams. The one thing that my team has going is we got the number 1 pick, so we have a little bit more of a brighter future. I feel like, but I guess not. I don't know. Austin Eckler, 26.7% owned. Next on the slate here, Kevin. What are your thoughts on Austin Eckler?
I think he's okay. I think he's okay for cash. I probably would stay away from him in any other format. I mean, his receiving ability, gives him a decent floor. But me and TJ were talking about this again. It was just, it still doesn't seem like he is the Eckler of of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's due to the fact that they have a pretty damn good quarterback now, and he doesn't need checkdowns every 3 plays. So I think it's all right. I just think his upside's limited. I mean, like if I was going to take one of these guys in cash and one of these guys in tourneys, I would definitely allude to more David Montgomery and tourneys and Eckler and cash. I'm not saying I would even take Eckler over David Montgomery. I'm just saying if you wanted to be different.
Sure.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Eckler. He doesn't quite have that. He doesn't look like Eckler last year, where he was a top 5 running back. Even when Melvin Gordon returned, he was top 5 the rest of the year, and it just doesn't look like that this year for me.
Sure. Austin Eckler at $7,600 is also a bit pricey, but Denver has actually struggled against the run all season long. So TJ, what are your thoughts here on Austin Eckler against Denver? 26.7% owned, right below David Montgomery.
Yeah, I think he's in a pretty good spot. Denver 27th in DVOA against the run, so definitely somebody that you can gash. Like Kevin's been saying, the volume hasn't really been what we've seen. Obviously against Buffalo, there was 25 total touches. Last week against the Raiders, only 17. Obviously, if I'm choosing between him and Montgomery, I definitely give the edge to Montgomery. I understand the ownership for Eckler, but I would rather save some money here at running back, get Montgomery, and then kind of go to a cheaper option. That'd be my personal opinion.
And speaking of cheaper options here, let's go and take a look at the running back picture. We have Melvin Gordon at $5,600 on the other side of the ball. Bernard $4,800, and then my personal favorite, Le'Veon Bell here, $5,800. So I guess out of those value plays, I'll stay with you, TJ, just because you started transitioning to that. Who are you looking at?
Melvin Gordon. They just put as in Denver, just put Phillip Lindsay on IR. Royce Freeman is also questionable. So if Royce Freeman doesn't go, even if he does go, Melvin Gordon's going to carry a bulk of that offense in terms of running the football. In what could be a competitive game against the Chargers as well. 47.5 total over under currently. I like that over. I actually think this could be a potential sneaky shootout game. Both teams struggle against the run. And, the Chargers currently ranked 26 in DVOA. So I really like Melvin Gordon at 5,600 if I'm choosing between him, Lev, and who did you say, Gio?
Gio, yes.
I give the nod to Melvin Gordon, especially like Phillip Lindsay going to IR is huge for him. They haven't really split carries, but Phillip Lindsay's really been a thorn in his side, especially as of late. So without him being there, that obviously opens up the value for Melvin Gordon and the opportunity as well. So I really like Melvin Gordon at 5,600 for running backs. I think Montgomery and Melvin Gordon would be my pairs for cash.
Also, real quick, we know that Akers is out. So Darrell Henderson at $4,500. Do you have any interest in him going against Seattle?
Yeah, Kevin and I talked about this in the video. Of course, that didn't get posted. It is a pretty tough matchup against Seattle. As long as Henderson is deemed the starter over Malcolm Brown, I don't know if we've gotten word on that yet because it's an afternoon game at 4:25. But yeah, he's somebody that was pretty consistent throughout the beginning of the year, finding the end zone at least. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. Obviously, Cam Akers has come in and completely taken over that backfield. So if he's going to see 15 carries, I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him at 4,500. But for me, it'd be more of a tournament play than a cash play.
Again, just to kind of put this in perspective, you're paying a combined $8,500 for two guys that are going to get, upward of 15 carries each. If you just compare that to like David Montgomery for $7,700, it could be worth it. So I definitely like the value there with the running back position for the Rams. Kevin, if you were paying for a value running back, where are you looking?
I mean, they're all great options as I look, like Lev, Melvin Gordon. I mean, they're all good options. Gio, Darrell Henderson.
There are a lot of
they're
good
really all
options.
good. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I like Melvin Gordon, especially like TJ said. Phil Lindsay's been just annoying enough to be a thorn in his side. And Melvin Gordon has talent. I mean, not to say that some of these other guys don't. Lev doesn't look like the Le'Veon Bell we've seen in the past, but he's still in an awesome spot. I mean, if you're a lead running back on the best offense in football, you're going to get your opportunities. So he could definitely break the slate. I think I would maybe lean towards him more so in tournaments, and then like a Melvin Gordon in cash games.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. There's so many value plays here at the running back position, and it's actually almost contrarian because, let's go ahead and transition over to this because let's talk about the wide receivers. Right now, Cleveland...
Matt, I got one more guy I want to touch base on real quick.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to touch base on Ito Smith at 4K. I think he's a pretty intriguing tournament option just because, if Atlanta's going to find themselves trailing, they like to go to Ito Smith more than they do Gurley, especially as a pass-catching back. So don't hate him at 4K. I think there's just so many options like Chubb at 7,800. I think he's in a good spot. David Johnson, 6,100. Miles Sanders, 7K. There's just so many good running back options. I think that's definitely where you want to be different today.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Cleveland and the Jets matchup, but I mean, that's a great matchup. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the wide receiver picture because this, and again, the ownership hasn't updated. And I have a feeling that all of these dumpster diving wide receivers are going to start jumping up the board. More specifically for the Cleveland Browns, who's playing for the Browns at the wide receiver position? We honestly don't know. It looks like Marvin Hall.
It's Marvin Hall. That's it.
Yeah,
they
Marvin
just
Hall
called up
is the
two
only guy in
guys. They called up two guys from the practice squad. It was Jamarcus Bradley and Derek Willis. Is that who it was? Derek Willis. Okay, so yeah, because we have Jarvis out, Higgins out, Donovan Peoples-Jones out, and Hodge out. Yep.
Yeah, literally everybody's
so it's
out.
Just Marvin Hall.
I only see Marvin Hall, and right now he's at 7%. I can only expect that's going to jump up because that's a free square. It really is. Like Baker Mayfield, even if he hands the ball off all game long, Marvin Hall has to literally get to 6 to 9 points to hit value, which is unreal. Nice. So easy. Nice. So what are your thoughts? I mean, for at the wide receiver position, are you paying down for Marvin Hall, TJ?
Dude, honestly, like I was trying to think about this morning, and yeah, so it looks like Marvin Hall is the only eligible wide receiver that they do have because the Browns did call up those two practice squad guys to play today. Honestly, Matt, I think if me, you, and Kevin can still get that private jet out to that game, I think we could be more productive than Marvin Hall. Throw me in the slot, man. I can get you 5 grabs. I might get my head knocked off my block, but dude, I'm pretty quick. Kevin can attest to that. Yeah, he's seen that 40 speed. Yeah, I guess you can go to Marvin Hall. He's showing 4% ownership right now, Matt, on Roto. I don't know what you have on Fantasy Puncher over there. Okay, 7. So if he's 5% owned, this is a game that I honestly think I could see Cleveland having like 60 total running attempts. I could see 10 passing or 10 targets, for Kareem Hunt. Yeah, okay. Just quick dump offs to Kareem Hunt, and I could see Austin Hooper really getting involved. Okay. So I don't know where I want to go. Will I take chances with Marvin Hall? Of course. He's literally the only wide receiver that wasn't on the practice squad that's eligible to go today at 3K, mind you. But besides him, or am I going to have him in cash? I don't know yet. I really don't. I'm trying to figure that out.
He's the only eligible player on DraftKings that you can play for wide receivers. So yes, they technically will have other wide receivers, but the only one that you can physically play, Marvin Hall, as of right now, unless DraftKings pulls a fast one and slides these guys into the DraftKings pool. But yeah, I think tight ends are a great place to start for the Cleveland Browns. I won't jump too far ahead, but let's go ahead and talk about the chalk that we have right now. Tyreek Hill, 26.2%. If you talk about Patrick Mahomes, you have to talk about Tyreek Hill and also Travis Kelce. Calvin Ridley here at 19.9%, and then Randall Cobb jumping up the board here at 18.3% owned. Let's go ahead and talk about Tyreek Hill right now, 26.2% owned. Do you agree with that, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, me and TJ talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think The chalk at wide receiver is pretty good. I mean, usually we like to differentiate ourselves at the wide receiver position to be successful in tournaments. As we know, that's how you become successful in tournaments in football. But this week, I don't know, Matt. It's a weird week for wide receiver in terms of consistency, in terms of who I'm liking, in terms of matchups. Like I'm looking at people like Keenan Allen, who I'm not as like no pun intended, not as keen on.
I think Keenan Allen's out. I think
Okay,
I think he was supposed to be out. Yeah. I think it's official.
Real
What's
quick.
up?
Still says he has
I don't know.
ownership.
Yeah.
Kevin and I talked about this yesterday. Excuse me. I don't mean to cut you guys off. We don't understand what's happening with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb's on IR, so I don't know why he's garnering ownership and showing 17%. I don't know if it's a glitch by Fantasy Cruncher.
I think that
if
is.
Randall Cobb is somehow playing, please in the chat let us know. He's on IR, so I have no idea what's happening. I don't know if they meant to give that ownership to Brandon Cooks.
They probably did.
But yeah, just guys, if you do see Randall Cobb, he is on IR. So
I just looked at that and I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I kind of slipped past it there.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I think Keenan Allen was leaning towards playing last night, Kevin, but I think as of this morning, Adam Schefter tweeted out that he's not expected to play. So Keenan Allen out of the player pool, which is another great team to target at the wide receiver position, by the way.
Snowball Matt being stupid again, just because you talked about Randall Cobb. Let's go with Keenan Allen. He's a game time, a legit game time decision. I guess I'm stupid.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
That's the best run here.
So I think Keenan Allen still has a chance to suit up. But
that was
either way, it's not important because I don't want him. he's been spotty. But yeah, I like Tyreek Hill. I like Calvin Ridley. I talked about Calvin Ridley last week. I was big on him last week, and he absolutely smashed. Tyreek Hill, I think, is the best wide receiver in football right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, me and TJ will talk
Travis
about
Kelce.
why. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, me and TJ will talk about why we like Calvin Ridley, maybe $500 cheaper, for a reason, as you just brought up. Travis Kelce.
Okay, so let me hear your thoughts. Are you paying up at the wide receiver position, TJ, this week?
Yeah. And if I am, the two studs that we're looking at obviously are going to be Tyreek and Calvin Ridley in the highest over-under game at 52.5. I lean Calvin Ridley just because no Julio. And I like what I've seen with Matt Ryan trusting Calvin Ridley. And, at the beginning of the year when Kevin and I would talk, or all of us would talk about Calvin Ridley and Julio, it was, if Julio's out, it kind of puts blanket coverage on Calvin Ridley. But I feel like Calvin Ridley's kind of made that next step. So whether Julio's in or out, it doesn't really affect him anymore. Matt Ryan's going to continue to trust him. He's going to continue to see targets. Whether he's getting double covered or not. So even if they put Tyrann Mathieu over the top on Calvin Ridley, he's still going to see the opportunities. He'll still see 10 plus targets. And if I can save $500 and Kansas City with that potent offense, like it doesn't need to be Tyreek Hill. There's so many other guys. It could be Mecole Hardman. Obviously we have Travis Kelce. We got Sammy Watkins. So when I'm looking at Atlanta, if I'm saving $500 between Hill and Ridley in a game where Atlanta's going to be trailing, trying to be playing catch up, I love catch up. I do lean Calvin Ridley here at 8,500 as my spend up. I'll definitely have Tyreek Hill in tournaments, but in terms of cash, I'm going Ridley.
If you guys want to be contrarian at all, don't play anybody from the Kansas City Atlanta game. That's where all the chalk's going to be. Game stacks are going to be there. Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. I would say, honestly, as a strategy, play all the players in that game for cash and then anything else in GPP. I think that's a phenomenal strategy because if this game does bust, which it doesn't have a high likelihood to, there's other games I could shoot out on the slate for sure. Like there's Philly and Dallas with a high over-under. I like that game for a game stack, and all those wide receivers are so cheap. Jumping into some GPP territory, I actually love the wide receivers from Dallas. All of them are so cheap. And Jalen Hurts has sped up this offense. I really do like what I'm seeing from the Eagles offense and just in general in this matchup. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into GPP plays at the wide receiver position. Kevin, if you're looking anywhere else other than the pay-up options and also the guys that we've talked about so far, where are you looking?
I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, honestly, I really don't like wide receiver. This is probably the most I've ever hated wide receiver, even for GPP options this week. I think there's this. It's tough. It's tough out there for wide receiver. That's why I almost want to get contrarian at the running back position. I think there's a lot of good running back options this week. If I had to pick, I'd say like Deontay Johnson. I like what I've seen from him. There's so many mouths to feed on that team, but if he's the one, he looks great. Robert Woods, I mean, that's pretty low ownership for Robert Woods. He's been absolutely lights out, so I don't hate him. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I'm probably going to get contrarian at the running back position.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that. TJ, where are you looking for GPP options at the wide receiver position?
Well, I just wanted to make a quick note. Dwayne Haskins is starting at wide receiver quarterback for the Washington football team.
I was about to
No, he is
believe
starting
you.
at wide receiver. Alex Smith at quarterback. No. I really like Allen Robinson in this matchup against Jacksonville at 7,700. Of course, the only thing I am worried about is a potential blowout. But if Jacksonville can somehow stay competitive, then I do like Allen Robinson at 7,700 as a tournament play. Kevin talked about Robert Woods. I also talked about pairing him with Goff as a tournament option. I definitely like Robert Woods. I think he's in a good spot against Seattle. The Cleveland Browns situation is just a mess. Like we talked about, if you want to take Marvin Hall as a tournament play, if his ownership isn't going to get updated, definitely don't hate him at 3K. Brandon Cooks in a decent spot at 6,200, where I think that ownership was supposed to go on Fantasy Cruncher with Randall Cobb. Yeah, at 6,200, really good matchup against Cincy, who ranks 27th in DVOA against the pass. A game where Houston's actually favored too, so I don't hate him. Russell Gage, 5,100, going up against Kansas City. He's been really good with Julio out. Been very consistent, 15 plus DraftKings points in his last 3 games. Matt, you talked about those Dallas wide receivers. I really like them in a high upside game against Philly. No mention of T. Higgins in a potential comeback game.
I do like T. Higgins too.
Yeah, in a game where they're going to be trailing, playing from behind. Houston is very porous. Porous, is that the word? Is that a word?
Sure.
Porous is the word. Yeah. They're bad secondary, okay? 28th in DVOA against opposing wide receivers. I like T. Higgins' price tag at 4,700. I'll definitely be taking some chances on some of those cheaper Bengals wide receivers. I was going to bring up Jamison Crowder, but I don't really want to.
This is just not a fun week to be talking about.
All right, I think that Jets game is going to be more competitive, especially with all those wide receivers being out.
I hope the Jets win another game.
So, yeah, I don't hate Jamison Crowder. And then one other team is just the Jacksonville wide receivers, Matt, like Shenault and Chark, especially with James Robinson being out. A game where they're going to be potentially trailing as well against Chicago. I think they have some really high upside. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shenault or DJ Chark has a really good game.
No, I like that. And again, it's about picking the matchups this week. I feel like if you're going anywhere else but Kansas City, it's going to be contrarian. And that's in terms of stacking, game stacking, any of that. But let's go ahead and stay on the Kansas City train as we switch over.
One more.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, I know. We said we were going to keep this short, but I don't stop rambling. With McLaurin being out, the Sims guys from Washington.
I love the Sims guys.
Something to keep an eye on.
I like that.
The Sims is.
The brothers make Sims.
At the tight end position, we have Travis Kelce.
Cole Hardman's pretty good too at 3,100.
Okay. Are we? What are we doing here? What are we really doing here? All right, tight end position.
KJ Hamler.
All right, I'm done.
Brian Pringle.
I'm done.
Okay, move fast.
Travis Kelce, 24.2% owned. The highest owned tight end / wide receiver at the tight end position. Austin Hooper, somebody we talked about earlier, because they have no wide receivers for the Cleveland Browns. 13.6%, and then Goddard 12.9%. I actually like the tight ends this week. But Travis Kelce at 24.2%, if you play him at all. I feel like it's contrarian at 8.5K. Is he worth it, TJ?
Yeah, that's it. Go. Move past it. Go to defense.
Okay.
Get Travis Kelce in your lineups. That's why it's really tough to start your builds if you want to go Mahomes and then you want to get one of Tyreek Hill and Calvin Ridley and then you want to go to Travis Kelce. It's really tough to fill out the rest of your lineup. But I'm definitely making Kelce a priority at 8,500. We did talk about Cleveland and the wide receiver core being absolutely decimated. So I really like Hooper at 3,500 if you are trying to save some money. And then Logan Thomas with McLaurin out. Really like what I've seen from him as of late. Just the targets in the last 3 games have been crazy. Went over for 100 yards for the first time this year against Seattle. 13 catches, 101 yards. Almost did it against Pitt where he went 9 for 98. So I like him as a cheap option as well. But I want to make Travis Kelce a priority. And if I cannot afford him, I'm going to Logan Thomas or Austin Hooper.
Real quick, Cleveland, they run a lot of 2 tight end sets. The only reason I know that is because I did a lot of showdown breakdowns in Cleveland, and obviously with their heavy rush attacks, I think you're going to see a heavy dose of not only Austin Hooper but also Bryant and Njoku. I think just with them out there, they're also at a near bottom of the barrel price tag at $2,500. Great salary savers, I think, with some upside and some potential volume. I'm going to be attacking 2 tight end builds this week for sure, and I think they save a lot of salary. And especially at 1.8% on Bryant and then 1% on Njoku. Really like that. So those are my contrarian picks. Kevin, are you playing anybody else but Travis Kelce this week?
I mean, honestly, I was looking at Parham.
Yes, Kev.
Yeah. I don't know if
Donald.
I don't know about Hunter Henry. I mean, he's I think he's out, right? Is he?
Yeah, he's out.
COVID-19. Yeah, I like what you said, Matt. But to be honest, if I'm paying $2,500, I'm going to take the guy who's not competing at the tight end position. I know obviously he's going to be competing with wide receivers where the people you alluded to might not be, but I still like him. I think he's in a good spot.
Okay, don't hate that. I think it's just Travis Kelce and then everybody else. And if you're paying down, you're going to go completely contrarian. Let me take a second and pause the live stream and ask you guys to, tell you guys to ask some questions real quick. We're going to get to the very end here, and once we have time to break down all the questions, we will get to your questions, okay? So feel free to spam any questions into the chat. I promise we will get to them. We have one more thing to cover, and that is defenses. So let's go ahead and switch over to defenses. We have a Jets question that sparked my interest real quick before we go to the chalk. Will you guys be considering the Jets now with Cleveland having virtually no wide receivers at $2,000? Is that an option for you guys? I'll start with TJ.
Jets defense?
Jets defense against Cleveland today.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing the Jets can do well is stop the run. So if you really think that the Browns are just going to try and wear down that front seven for the Jets, then yeah, I mean, I don't hate him at 2K. This over-under sits at 44.5 right now. I actually want to see if that's gone down at all. Fantasy Labs. So yeah, if you want to take chances with them at 2K, like, yeah, I definitely don't hate it, but there's definitely other defenses that I'm targeting.
Yeah.
I understand that the Browns are still decimated at the wide receiver, but they have two very capable running backs, and they also have a very good tight end core. So just because they're using me, Kevin, and Matt as wide receiver today, I still think they're going to be able to get it done against the Jets. But at 2K, they could definitely pay off that price tag. Still at 44. Over under right now, but the Browns team total did drop from 27 to 25.5.
Okay. For what it's worth, Marvin Hall's ownership did go up another 3%, so it's sitting at 10.3%. Still a contrarian pick, by the way, for anybody watching this stream. Texans, though, are the highest owned on the slate at 17.9%, 2.8K. Not really that much of a pay-up option from the Jets that we were just talking about. Do you believe in the chalk, Kevin, with the Texans playing Cincinnati?
Not really.
Okay.
I think Texans defense is so bad. I'd rather take Washington football team at 3K. To be honest, I'd pay up to $200 and probably grab them.
Okay, and I also want to talk about the Bears against Jacksonville. I really do think that the Jags are going to get blown out today, or it's going to be a low-scoring game, and they'll just keep it low-scoring.
Oh, no, you think?
Jacksonville.
Okay. Oh, man.
Okay.
No way.
I wish I could fight back. 3.6K, 10.1%, the second highest owned on the slate. Probably my favorite defense, just in general, I think, with the highest upside. The Browns are also there with the Jets, 3.7K. Are you in agreement with the Texans being the highest owned, though, TJ?
No, I'd go to the Bears
in
a smash spot, unfortunately, Matt. But I do get the Texans ownership at 2,800. I think I'm with Kevin, though. I think I'd rather go to Washington at 3K. I don't hate spending down at the Texans at 2,800. I also don't hate the Panthers at 2,700, honestly, especially with Haskins starting. I think that's got turnover city written all over it. So I don't hate either of the defenses in that Carolina-Washington matchup.
I think Haskins is so bad. I really do. I every time I see him, it's bad. But yeah, let's go ahead and not waste any more time here. We have 13 minutes in the live stream left, so if we could just get the questions, and then we will end it on that note. I know this is a relatively short live stream, but for good reason. We have not really that much to cover here. Only a 10-game slate. I think this is one of the smallest main slates we had all season long. But let's go ahead and go through the questions, if you wouldn't mind. I'm going to check Discord real quick, TJ.
Yep. Jalen Hurts a lock. Definitely, we don't hate Jalen Hurts for cash at 7K. Definitely viable. I'm pretty sure I saw TJ lining up in the slot for Cleveland in warmups this morning. Yes, I will be in the slot for Cleveland today. Keep an eye out for me. If Juju dances, they lose. 100%. Juju needs to get off the TikToks and start making some catches. Guys, 124 you in here right now. Thank you so much. If you could just please smash that like button. We hate asking, but we really appreciate it. It really helps out the stream.
Thank you.
Best stack for cash.
It's anything with Kansas City.
Yeah, I would say
Mahomes and I'd say Mahomes, Kelce.
Yeah, yes, I agree with that. Real quick, I have a bunch of questions in here. Sorry, TJ, and on Discord. So I want to make sure I get to them. Choosing running backs for cash: Montgomery, Bell, Chubb, Eckler. Who do you leave out? Question mark.
What was it?
Sorry, choosing running backs for cash: Montgomery.
I mean, are you throwing a flex in?
Yeah, so I guess it depends on your build, first of all. I would still go with Montgomery and Eckler just because of ownership. But again, my favorite paydown option on the slate is going to be Bell. You want some exposure to that game, and if you happen to get lucky with a running back touchdown, which could happen, I definitely like that. What do you guys think about cash?
I'd probably leave out Eckler, to be honest, as crazy as it is. It's just, I feel like you're with Gordon's price and Montgomery's consistency and his matchup, you're saving yourself in terms of consistency, and then you're giving yourself good upside with Bell.
I just
love was it Bell, Montgomery, Eckler,
Chubb,
and
Chubb.
Where is Montgomery? Is that a national landmark? I don't know where Montgomery is.
Okay, you coming at me?
Sorry, keep going.
Oh my god. Move past it.
Okay, so I think I can speak for all of us. Montgomery,
Melvin Gordon, and Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery. Okay, Montgomery. Oof. All right, Bell easy. Hold on. I don't think I have any more questions. They're just chatting. Is double Browns? Hold on, sorry. Is double Browns running backs okay for GPPs? I actually like that. I really do. It depends on the size, though. One of them's gonna have a ceiling game, probably Chubb, but Hunt could definitely be in the mix there.
Dwayne Haskins probably is better wide receiver than quarterback. 100%, Brian. We agree with you there. Not on Tyreek Hill today. Banged up hamstring. Yeah, he did bang up his hamstring. Probably not a full workload. I could agree with you on that. It's more of a tournament play for me with Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Because obviously he has the ability.
Well, that's a contrarian take, so I like it.
You're a contrarian take.
Okay.
Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill stack with a Ridley run back. I don't even know what you would have left in terms of salary doing that. You would have to take some cheap options. You'd have to go dumpster diving probably with Marvin Hall, maybe like an Ito Smith at running back as well. I think that'd be tough to construct, but if you could make it happen, I don't hate it. Safe to stack Thomas and McKissick. I do like Logan Thomas, not too high on McKissick. It still depends on. Yeah, I don't like the game either. It depends on. We still don't really have word on Antonio Gibson. He's still questionable. So we got to wait and see what's going on with him.
Okay. What are the best running back and QB plays for cash? I'm sorry, I missed the first half of the live stream. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes for QB, period. And also, if you want to pay down at all, it's Jalen Hurts. But again, I recommend Patrick Mahomes. And then running backs, we've already talked about Montgomery. TJ likes Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. Who do you like for defense? We just covered defense. Cole Kmet is going to have himself a day. Lock it in. I like it. I was on the Texans, but the Bears was my first choice. I think that's the only team that's here to play for real this week. Okay, yeah, we like the Bears defense. Running backs: Montgomery, Bell, Gordon, McKissick. Who's your favorite? I like Montgomery, and I like Melvin Gordon. I would go Montgomery 1, Gordon 2, Bell 3, McKissick 4.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can't get Kelsey, is Hooper a second best tight end for cash? Yes. For ownership, yes. Second best option. Favorite paydown wide receiver for cash? Marvin Hall. I think it's going to jump up the board as the live stream goes on.
Bell or Melvin for cash? I like Melvin. I think you two like Bell.
Yep. No, I like Melvin.
I like them both, actually, to be honest.
I think Lev's better for tournaments, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I lean Melvin Gordon there. Okay. Robert Woods or Deontay Johnson. I like Robert Woods.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll say Johnson.
You like Deontay Johnson?
Those are my two favorite GPP picks I talked about. So
okay. Where on the video that we posted?
No, I said that earlier.
Revenge game for the Washington coach. Yes, Ron Rivera going up against his old team. I still think that's going to be an ugly game. Miles Sanders in GPP. I like Miles Sanders.
I do like
GPP.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, obvious. Jalen Hurts obviously has been affecting him just in terms of his rushing upside. He's had 10 plus carries in his first two starting games, 11 and 18 total. So it is affecting Miles Sanders a little bit, but it is opening up some holes for Miles Sanders. So I like him as a tourney play.
He still snapped against the Saints, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kev, thoughts? So you do like Deontay Johnson. We just got a question. Thoughts on Pittsburgh wide receivers? Anybody else, or just you leaning toward Deontay Johnson?
I think Claypool. He's still hit or miss.
Do you like that? Do you like that TikTok guy? What's his name? Juju's.
He gets so much hate.
Shosters. Isn't it TikTok Smith Schuster?
I was going to say he does have. He better have a chip on his shoulder. He does have something to prove at this point. So I don't know. I never hate Pittsburgh. I think they're like one of the best, teams to target in terms of GPP wide receivers. I mean, every week one of those guys is super fantasy relevant.
Yeah, always.
Who's the fade for Kansas City game?
A contrarian fade? It's gonna be Tyreek Hill.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
that's my
Tyreek Hill.
contrarian fade too.
Yeah. All Kelsey. Give me all the Kelsey.
Goddard and Kelsey both in cash.
I
Love
like
Kelsey.
it.
Don't hate Goddard. Matt's been talking about something about running 2 tight ends or something. I don't know. I don't listen to him when he talks, but he's something like that. But yeah, don't hate it. No Austin Eckler love. We talked about Austin Eckler. We definitely lean David Montgomery over Eckler. But yeah, I mean, I know you guys are pretty high on Eckler as well. But yeah, I'm more of a Mountain guy, especially with their price tags being somewhat similar.
I have no more questions from the Discord.
Okay. Josh Reynolds GPP.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hate him at 3,200. I'd probably rather go Marvin Hall, especially with the depleted Browns wide receiver core at 3K. So that'd be my opinion.
I think this week, this is going to be the week where the Millie Maker is going to spend like $46,000 on their salary. There's so many options, so many salary savers that have tremendous upside. I just think so.
Do we have any news on Zeke if he's playing? Is he still questionable?
I still don't know.
I'm looking.
Yeah, so somebody just asked about Pollard round 2. Yeah, if he's out, sign me up for Pollard
Limited
for sure.
practice.
6,500.
Elliott should play.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't. Pollard's actually useful. Zeke isn't.
Okay.
Zeke's a bum. I hope actually Zeke does play because I'm in the championship league, my fantasy football season long. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the championship league. I'm playing against Zeke, yeah, but he has Pollard, and I'd rather see him play. I'd rather see Zeke play for my own benefit.
Are you in the championship?
Yeah, I'm in the championship in my fantasy football
really
league.
cool.
Other league, I made it to the semifinals. Almost made it to the championship, lost by 0.6.
Awesome.
So I don't want to
Did
talk
you
about
actually?
it. Yeah.
That
And I've
sucks.
already had Jeff Wilson go in my championship matchup. So I'm looking pretty good right now. So, yeah. He did really good. So it should be pretty good in the championship. Cool. Yeah, thank you. How would a Kansas City Atlanta stack, Philly Dallas, or would you say Rams
you're talking about
Seattle be
secondary
better
stack?
with Kansas City Atlanta?
Okay.
Gotcha. I would lean Kansas City Atlanta with Philly Dallas.
I would too. Again, it depends on the size of the contest. If you're going to be playing a huge GPP, then I would go the Rams and Seattle because all those guys have no ownership whatsoever. All of them.
We didn't talk about Mike Davis, guys. Christian McCaffrey, doubtful. Most likely.
Another option.
I don't know. I don't know if he's 100% out yet.
He's out.
And I feel like I know we didn't bring him up now, but I do like Mike Davis.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is a tough matchup. McCaffrey is still deemed as doubtful. But I doubt he plays. So yeah, it is a tough matchup against that Washington front seven for Mike Davis. But at low ownership, I wouldn't hate him as a tournament play.
We didn't even talk about the lack of wide receiver depth now with Keenan Allen out for the Chargers. There's so many options, man. Mm-hmm. So Guyton is there at 4.9%. Mike Williams is an option at $4,500. I don't think we've seen him that cheap for a while. Tyron Johnson. I mean, all these guys are good options. So we just got a question about Guyton in the Discord chat. Yeah, I like him. As far as percentage snaps goes, I think Guyton plays closer to 70% of the snaps at 3.2K. Are you kidding me? And a team that throws a lot. And there's Chips. Chips could line up at wide receiver.
Guys, this is my son. He is going to be playing wide receiver today for the Browns. He's excited.
Still better than half the roster.
Yeah, he is.
All right.
One more question, Matt. Hilton or Gage?
We got three more minutes, so we can speed through a couple
more. Hilton or Rage, he said. I would go Russell Rage. I really like Russell Rage at 5,100.
Montgomery. Russell Rage and
Montgomery. Would I be insane to run Matt Ryan and Hurst and Falcons D running back with DeMarcus Robinson turning? That's super bold.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, I guess. The Falcons D part kind of scares me.
That's terrifying.
I like the Matt Ryan. No. I like the Matt Ryan and Hurst, maybe thrown into Marcus Robinson too. But the Falcons D part is where you lose me.
No, not Falcons D. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Nice dog. Thank you, Sean. That's my son, Corgi. Chips.
My son.
Airbud don't have S on air chip. That's my dude, Joe. Love that.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. let's go ahead and end the live stream here, guys. Look out for NBA live stream. Still don't know for a fact if we're doing it or not. If there's a bunch of late-breaking injury news that we didn't cover on the video, we'll probably go live before lock. Still don't know yet. But look out for all the Patreon content. Again, Patreon, $20 a month gets you access to all the NFL sheets, all the NFL Sunday Night Football slates, all the NBA content, all that, and so much more, guys. $20 a month. That's all it is, and it helps support the stream. Please, if you are struggling in DFS and want to learn how to become a better DFS player, sign up today. Last thoughts, guys? Anything?
Big game from Montgomery in Russell Rage.
Russell Rage, okay. All right, with all that being said, have a great rest of your weekend, and let's cash.
Let's cash.